Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I'm going to make a video. I made it from my original channel too, and yesterday I did, but I'm going to put it on this channel. Make a new one, and it's about something that has bothered me for a long while. Really, I'm not as worked up as I probably would sound about it, but it is something that needs to be, people need to pay attention to, or needs to be spoken. That's how I see it. I could be wrong in any of this. But since 2018, I think, I have off and on, before 2020, off and on, I did the thing of online grocery shopping or shopping for whatever I need. Some of the things I used to go out like every day or so to do before all what happened in 2020. Anyway, I tried the delivery services, different ones, and different ways of doing it. Even, they do the shopping and I go pick it up, all this. Okay. And recently, I've heard people say online, on video, people who they call themselves gig workers, and that they either work for one or more of these that do the delivery, that kind of delivery, not the kind that comes through the mail, not the kind that like you used to do, but anyway, like from stores or from restaurants. That's what they do. Some of them do one or more, for one or more of those services. Now that's their choice. That's their choice, what they do. Okay, but what I've been hearing from some of these is complaining about customers who do not tip. I do tip. Okay, when appropriate. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And they won't take orders unless the customer has put on there that how much they're going to do for a tip. Let's stop right here for a second. Now, there's more, but let's stop here. I have never gone to a restaurant and sat down and laid the tip on the table before I even order, before I get my food. Either one of those. Before I'm finished eating. Nope, not then either. It's after that I do the tip. A gratuity. Okay, to say thank you. If they do the right job. Now, if they come and they spill something on me, you think I'm going to give them a tip? If they do like this male friend of mine, I told him, I said, watch this. We went to a restaurant. I said, watch them totally ignore me, this waiter. And sure enough did. It happened again. He couldn't believe it any time. He just could not stop talking about it. So they ignore me, they're going to pay attention to you. And they did, both of them. You think I would tip them? No. I certainly would not. A tip is somebody gives. A tip is not a demand and should be demanded. They give it because they appreciate what's going on. I appreciate these people. When there was a time in my life when I had gone to take care of my mom. It wasn't working, and I did. I worked as I worked as the hostess actually, but sometimes I did wait on tables, and so I knew what it was like to get a tip. I didn't have another job. I needed the extra little cash here and there for things. So I knew, and you did your job. You didn't demand that they have it on the table right away. You didn't take only tables that you figured the people would give you a tip. But I do know what it's like. Okay. Anyway, this is a different time. Okay, there was that. And then they were calling these customers names and saying they're cheap, saying that, they're just not right, and they would never do that. Well, maybe you would never do it because you work in this. But then they were complaining about they took some. Anytime they ever took any that, didn't have a tip on there, they never got the tip afterwards. Well, did they ever consider that maybe it's because they didn't do a good job? Or did some of these places let you order stuff that is really, say, $10 or less and have it delivered? Now, these are people who are, in any of these that I know of, they're paying like a membership fee, whether that's each delivery, per month, per year, whatever it is. They're paying for that. Then, at least one of them, they have another charge. Okay, you're paying for it to be delivered, but then there's another charge. I don't know what they call that. Okay, now I remember seeing it and saying, wait a minute, it wasn't there before, but it is all of a sudden now. And, then they have also a tip. That seemed like more like a tip. And they're telling me that I'm paying more to buy my groceries through this service. So I'm paying more for the groceries. I'm paying the membership fee. I'm paying this other little whatever it is. And they want a tip? That's strange. Now, do you think they told us that the people who are doing the delivery don't work for them? That they work for the service? They don't work for the store? The people who are buying the groceries don't work for them? They go and buy the groceries themselves? I mean, go shop and get them? Do they tell us this? So how will we know? But to say, to actually have that sense of entitlement that the customer not only needs to give the tip, should demand the customer gives a tip. But if they don't have it already up there before they even do anything, no. Okay. Some of this is like a high sense of entitlement. Oh my goodness. People give a tip for the service if it was done correctly. And I know some of them say, well, that, we're not getting tips because of what happens, like they don't have the whatever the customer wants. Well, my average is about 75% of what I order I actually wind up getting. I don't have to pay for it, of course, the other 30 to 25 to 30%, but I don't get what I ordered. And I've actually gotten so many times, I order a certain kind of soda. I will get diet caffeine-free Dr. Pepper. I get diet caffeine-free Dr. Pepper. I cannot tell you how many regular Dr. Peppers with caffeine or diet Dr. Pepper with caffeine I have received. And not only that one, I've tried other ones, and it's the same kind of thing. And I put on there, do not substitute. Oh, I make sure I say do not substitute. I'm going to pay for that. I'm going to tip for that. And I've had one of them come to the front door. A man, this is Texas, and by the way, masks are mandatory. Comes to the door, doesn't have a mask on, trying to get me to come out, and it was like a $300 order. He wanted me to come out and go through all of my bags to make sure I got my items. He screwed up, you see. Wasn't wearing a mask, standing over my items, talking. Wasn't wearing a mask. I've had so many of these little things happen. I'm going to tip for that? No, like I said, I do tip when appropriate. When I feel it's appropriate. I don't tip because it's demanded of me. I don't sign a contract with these people that says I must give a tip. Nobody does that when they go into a restaurant. They don't sign something saying I have to give a tip. No. Some people seem to have forgotten that. Or they just never knew it. They just don't, they have an entitlement. They're entitled to it. And then I've heard these things such as that the customer needs to realize that we have to pay for our gas. We have to pay for our wear and tear on our automobiles. You chose that job. You're going to have a beef with that? You call and talk to your boss. That is who needs to realize it. Not the customer. You chose that job. You chose the job all around. And to say, oh, I'm not going to take any of that, don't have the tip up front. I think that's your job, isn't it? And that customer you keep complaining about, you wouldn't have that job if it weren't for the customers. I hate people when they say that. I can't stand when I hear people say stuff like that, but it's true. So sitting there cutting down the customers that don't pay you up front, and I think that little extra fee and the thing of paying more for the items, doesn't that go towards your tip? You get money for doing this. Each one, some of them, they were bragging about how they made $50 or 70 something bucks on just a few items I had to go in the store for. I think, and it shows that the tip is only part of it, a small part of it. So the customers, again, let's go through this again. The customer's paying more for their items. The customer's paying a membership fee. The customer's paying that extra fee. And you want a tip? You already got what you got from there. You don't want minimum wage. No, you want to get that extra money. But you're going to complain that it's the customer's fault that you're not getting as much as you want. The customer is even responsible for your wear and tear on your automobile. And I've heard someone say, yeah, I cannot pay my rent if they don't. The customer's not responsible for your rent, not responsible for your gas, not responsible for your wear and tear. We pay a monthly fee. We pay all that I just went through. And we're not told that this is what it is. It wasn't until I started watching these that I got a full idea of what it is that they do. But like I said, I am one who tips appropriately. And if I knew that somebody who was going to come to my door to deliver stuff is one of these, I would not tip. With this attitude, I would not tip. Oh, and another thing is the customer is responsible because they're risking their lives. I understand that. You are risking your life, but you chose it. I don't like that attitude either, but you did choose it. But your overall attitude stinks. Seriously. It shows high sense of entitlement, in my view. Really. And I am one to put the tip up first. But if somebody comes to my door and they're screwed up, screw up my order, screw up everything, I will take that tip off. And yes, I will give them a negative. I mean, practically negative. A 1 rating. And that's another thing they complain about, is the freaking ratings. People rate according to how you're doing your job. But no, I mean, it's there, but don't you dare. It's that kind of attitude. Don't you dare give me a -1. And then they say, well, the reason the customer's doing that, like I was saying earlier, is because they didn't have the items. The customer doesn't know. Remember, think about it. Think. Brain connect. Think. Does the customer have some option to rate the store for not having the items? Does the customer know that you don't work for them? Does the customer know that you are not part of that? So where would the customer rate not having the right items? Or not having, but only 70 to 75% of what they order. And remember, please remember, the customer is paying. The paying customer. Really. Now the sarcasm I have heard. Really, I'm sure you hear it in my voice too. But the nerve to blame the customer and claim it's the customer's responsibility. Everything I just said. It's on the customer. Again, the customer is paying. The customer is buying from that store. Or whatever it is, the customer is buying. The customer's paying for that, paying more for that. In some instances, not all. Customer's paying. And you want more? And the customer doesn't know that you don't work for them? And you're going to sit there and call the customer cheap and call the customer just not right in their minds. They're not doing right. What this world is coming to. Seriously. And then they feel justified by claiming it's all the customer's fault. Again, if there weren't customers, you wouldn't have a job. Now I know, I can imagine that there's some pretty crappy customers. Are they the most? No. I would say no. But if you screw up their order and they give you something lower than a 5, a full, you're going to be mad. Maybe they didn't like what you did. But they're not going to say that. They're going to think, I mean, from what they have said and I have heard them say, myself, they're not going to think that maybe they didn't do something right. Like, people who put something that has a really very strong chemical smell next to an onion in the same bag. They're doing the shopping, they're also doing the bagging. Chances, some of them do. They go through that speedy line, self-checkout. And they put something like, say, something that you actually smell through it. And they're going to put it in the same bag as an onion or anything that is food, bread, eggs, whatever. They're going to throw it in the same bag. Or they're going to go and, these all have happened to me, by the way, go and buy fruits or vegetables that have mold on them. Buy something chicken salad that expires that day. A big box, big thing of it, container of it. Eggs that expired, the day before. Things that have already expired, period. You're doing the shopping. You want a tip for that? And they're not coming back around to give you the correct thing. They've had items, I forgot it at the store. And I'm supposed to tip automatically beforehand? I do. But like I said, I'll take it off. And don't give them a rating. That's their livelihood. What do you think you're doing? You can just do whatever you want and it's okay? Because you're going to guilt trip the customer? You're going to blame the customer? You're going to be rude about the customer? You're going to call them names if they don't? Because seriously, like I said in that video I made for another channel, apologies need to be made to the customers. If you're having beef, like I said, you don't triangulate that customer into what you're doing that you're ticked off about because of the people you work for. But you found a way to turn it around on the customer. The customer is not paying you enough. Really? Seriously? The customer's paying more. The customer's paying a fee, another fee, and you want a tip. Wow. Some people, when they hear a high sense of entitlement, they immediately say narcissistic. Not a diagnose. You have the behavior disorder, but just narcissistic behavior. Mm-hmm. As though we signed a contract. Anyway, enough on this for now.